starting with Erik.
Hi, Erik.
Hi.
We've just heard from John about the campaign, the winter coat appeal that's running tomorrow. You've donated your own coat as well. How much do you encourage fans to support this? How important is it?
I think it's important that we are together, society, and so we have to support everyone who has, say, problems, difficulties, and I think everyone who has it very good. You can give a part of you. You can share something, definitely. So I hopefully this campaign is great, and I hopefully everyone is supportive of it and give everything you can, because I think many people can give something.
Thank you. In terms of the football at the moment, what qualities do you need to see from your team tomorrow in order to get yourselves out of what's been a real difficult run?
Consistency, and that is the problem where we are struggling with. In parts of the game, in big parts of the game, I would say we do a lot of things right, but then we are moments where we're struggling, and we in such moment we can't survive. And in this moment, you have to do the right things. And so be consistent in doing the job, be consistent in the communication, because when you do that, you keep the right organization and do it like before. So, yeah, definitely you can mark such moment as when we score a goal or when we concede a goal or when decisive moments are going against us, and then we lose a little bit team. And where we, over big parts, say 95% of the game, we are that team. So keep doing all the way through. And there we have to step up.
Have you worked out why the team is suffering in those 5% of moments? Do you know what the reason is for that?
Yeah, it's difficult, but of course you do research and you point it. And we spoke about, of course, with the team about it and how we can improve that fact. And we make some agreements about.
And what is the reason? Is it concentration? Is it the pressure in those moments? What is it?
I think it's more than one fact. Concentration is one, but there are also so other things. And most important in such moment is that you keep on one page, and that starts with again communication.
Erik, how ready is Region to return?
Not for tomorrow.
And Sancho still not with the first team. And how ready is Anthony for a Premier League start as well?
I think he's ready for a start.
Marcus Rashford's got 1 goal this season. Last season he had 5 in 9 at this stage. What difference are you seeing in his play at the moment compared to last season?
Yeah, but there is a team, and of course him, and there's both. And so I'm sure it's normal that you are not always in the same levels, and of course everyone knows the qualities of him, and also the opposition knows the qualities. But if Rassi is doing the thing right and the team is doing the thing right, we will put him in the right places, and then it's up to him. And we have seen the last weeks that he's coming in the good positions, and now he's a little bit struggling, but this will pass. Because everyone knows the qualities. Everyone at Man United backs him. And the whole team is supportive to him and believes in him. And so I'm sure with that confidence, with that belief that the team is behind him, this will change. So this will swap. This will pass.
What would you say his own confidence is at? Is it just a case of needing that spark for it to click for him again?
But that is always. But there's always so. That strikers, when they don't score for a moment, they need that, and they need 1 goal, and then they step over, and it will come. And he is so experienced, and he knows that as well. And when he's doing the right things, and when the team is doing the right things, that momentum will come, and then he will be on fire.
Just one more.
Erik, hi Erik. I know you have a new goalkeeper. I know you haven't had a settled defence all season, but you've conceded 18 goals in 10 games so far. If you haven't got any of those injured defenders coming back soon, what can you do to fix that?
Yeah, that's what we're just talking about. So we're talking about a lot of last days about communication, and that of course the routines when we have to make almost every game changes, and the routines a little bit less, say, and 99% in top football is a lot, and then you make mistakes as a team where opponent takes benefit from it. So we worked a lot about we need to be on the same page. We need the communication in such moment that we are well organized, and then it's about the player and the willingness to be on the right spot and make the right decisions in the right moment.
One other thing that's happened is your win percentage seems to have dropped dramatically since you won the League Cup last season. You were up at 69% of your games were won before that. You're now down to about 50%. Do you think there has been any sort of hangover from that cup win? Do you think some people maybe thought the hard work was done and have rested on their laurels slightly?
It's the fact, and so we dropped in levels and we fight against, but so we have to get back to those levels, and there are reasons for, but still, it's not acceptable, and we have to fight against it. And every team we put out, and they have to be on one page. But as I just explained, the routines at this moment are not always there, but they have a good foundation in the way of play. So we have some rules and principles, and when you keep that foundation and then cover each other and support each other, then we will play better.
Last question in the section now.
Hi Erik, with the international break coming up, does it make it even more important to try and go into that on a positive note from tomorrow?
Yeah, it's true, but every game we have to win, and so that will always be the case. So that approach will not change for any game.
I'm always in doubt when you meet a team that is great form and momentum. Is that bad, or is it the other way around, or will that momentum end one day? I don't know. I think it's a great club, great team, great manager, fantastic players, big challenge, but we're up for it. And of course we go there because and believe that we can get something out of it.
Okay, is Erik ten Hag under any threat of losing his job?
I think so. I think ultimately it's football and it always comes down to that. I think this is a much bigger problem. We've said it for years with the Glazers and the ownership. That situation's been going on for way too long. The takeover, is it happening? Is it not happening? I think when you separate that though, and you actually look at the football, because I think the whole ownership thing, I wanted them to go for a long time, but when you're on the pitch, you have to put on a performance. And what I'm seeing from Manchester United, again, that I didn't see last year all the time, was that Manchester United don't look like they have a playing style and philosophy. And that is a problem. When I watch Manchester United, I'm thinking, okay, last year Erik ten Hag came in, that Brentford game losing, 4-0 down after 20 minutes. He ran them into the ground apparently the next day. Then he got a reaction out of them. They won the Carabao Cup in the end. Those types of things. But Manchester United are not in it to win the Carabao Cup. But I started to see, okay. But I do think that Erik ten Hag has had to put out a lot of fires since he's come in. The Harry Maguire situation, the Mason Greenwood situation, Anthony, Jadon Sancho. There's been a lot of distractions, but ultimately, when you look at the team, Amrabat, great signing. I think great. We're playing him at left back.
Exactly.
Jadon Sancho training still on his own. There's a lot of things that I just don't sit right with me. And that Jadon Sancho situation doesn't sit right with me because I've been a player. And I don't think it can ever be right if a player's training on their own for so long, just because he doesn't want to apologise. Yeah. That conversation should have been taken place away from the field of play. Erik ten Hag made it public, so Jadon Sancho had to react because he's obviously defending his character. We've seen it happen before when the players have had to do that. So I don't know what I see. I was at the Tottenham away game, in the away end, and there was nothing, and that to me is a problem. Tottenham looked so much better on that day. And when I see players like James Maddison, I would have loved him to come to Manchester United. And people say, oh, he's not a Manchester United player. What is that? How can you say he's not a Manchester United player when he's flying at Tottenham? So, do I think Erik ten Hag should go right now? Personally, no, because I think someone else comes in.
Yeah.
Definition of insanity. You know, we've had so many managers that can't get a tune out of this team. But as the longer goes on, he will come under a lot of scrutiny, won't he? Because he's not getting results.
Well, that was very passionate.
Was it?
I don't even want to ask you to add to it because she said it in a way that I don't think anyone could say it better than that. But to pick up on what Leanne had said, he's had to put out a lot of fires.
Yep.
And another key point, what is their playing style? What is their identity at the moment?
I still think they are the best counter-attacking team in the country.
Okay.
The problem is
Really?
that's not what he wants to do. And I think they can be very good on the counter-attack. That's not what he wants. He wants playing from the back with Onana, who usually is good with the ball at his feet, but not against Galatasaray on Champions League night on Tuesday night, for example. So if even Onana can't help them to play better out from the back, for example, that's not going to work. So for me, there's a conflict between what those players would be very good at, which is a counter-attacking style, and what, in a way, Ten Hag wants to try to put together, which is struggling. He said himself, we've dropped levels. Whose fault is that if you drop levels? This is your fault. This is your team. This is your tactics. It's okay, maybe Rashford can have a bad day, but not 7 bad games.
Yeah, he's been...
Same for Bruno, same for the defense, same for everybody. And at some points, I like him, but he will have to own the problem the fact that this team has a lot of problems that also are his problems. And right now, he's not finding any solutions to them.
Yeah, you said the best counter-attacking team in the country. Is that good enough to be challenging for the league? Because that is where Manchester United want to be. That's where, you're used to seeing Manchester United be.
But so far off. I mean, you heard Thomas Frank talk about Manchester United there, saying fantastic team. I think they still have that respect. But Manchester United of old is long gone. It's no longer the Manchester United of old. I was used to growing up watching them win all the time. That's Manchester City now.
Yeah.
And fair play to them, because yes, they spent a lot of money, but so have Manchester United. They spent a lot of money, but on the wrong players. And, there's been a lot of issues off the field of play that I think are distracting from the quality. That's what I was saying, really, when you said about the best counter-attacking team. I don't disagree with you, but I think, where is that coming from? Rashford, the Manchester United front line has been non-existent. Rashford, when Sancho plays, Anthony, when he plays, Garnacho, early in the season, wasn't really doing much. And that comes down to managers sometimes. Players have to look from within. But it does come from the manager. Look at Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah.
Look at what he's done in a short space of time at Tottenham.
Absolutely. Quick final question on Man United, because there was the bad and the good in the Champions League game that you talked about. Definitely the bad was Onana. And I don't know if he can apologize once again, because he seems like he's been doing that a few times now. And then the good was probably Højlund.
Yeah, I think Rasmus Højlund looked really sharp. That second goal is get the ball on the halfway line and sprint, and nobody can catch you while you're running with the ball and they're running without the ball. It's very impressive. The finish was great after running for 50 yards, that little chip. There's another goal that he scored. He was just offside, and maybe he could have been a bit more clever and stay onside even before that. But the talent is there. So if they can put him in the right positions and the right service, he will score loads of goals. The issue we have is that can they actually put him in good positions, and will his goals be enough, because they seem to concede even more on the other end anyway.
Okay, Red Devils opponents this weekend, Brentford. No side has dropped more points from winning positions than Brentford. What do you think has gone on with them this season?
I think they're a good team. I mean, I love what Thomas Frank has done with this team last year. When you go to the G-Tech, it's amazing. The atmosphere, we talk about it. The fans are quite realistic. I think Ivan Toney obviously not being able to play. There was a lot more pressure on Wissa and Mbeumo. And I think they did okay at the beginning of the season. The first couple of games, you thought, okay, and Mbeumo's stepping up. And then eventually, everything's kind of just plateaued a little bit. And I think this game's going to be an interesting one, because there's two teams not really in form.
Yeah.
They're playing against each other. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Manchester United are going to win this. And I think Brentford on their day, with the game plan that's set up, and Thomas Frank gets a tune out of his players individually, and they have a style, don't they? But Ivan Toney not being there is a big loss for them still.
So, Manchester United have started the season with 4 defeats from their opening 7 games. It's their worst ever start to a Premier League season. It's their worst start to a Premier League season, worst start to a top flight season since the 80s.
Wow.
It's been really difficult for them, to say the least. And when you look at the opposition, maybe take Tottenham and Arsenal out of that. Brighton, they get them when Brighton are playing well, but there are teams in there that they should be beating. Crystal Palace amongst them, a team that they should be beating, that they had beaten a much changed Crystal Palace side in the League Cup in midweek. But it just, and that game against Wolves that they won, obviously there was a controversial incident in that one. They've been they've ridden their luck at times in some of the games in which they have got 2 points.
Yeah, we saw that at Forest at home at the start of the season.
Yeah.
I think that there's a time before where you look at some of those teams. You look at a Forest.
Oh, it's up there now, is it?
Look at a Forest, Wolves, Burnley. All of those teams were the teams that when we talk about a team that's going away and having to win, Man United win those games. Back when we was playing against United, they win those games. That Man United is no longer nowhere in sight. Anyone who goes to Old Trafford now will feel like they've got a chance